This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
Hey, hi everyone. You are in for an exciting evening because we already have Shallow being sang over here, and we're just in for a really fun night, that's what recovery is all about having fun. So welcome everyone to tonight's episode of The Empty Chair. I have two beautiful women here that I so look forward to hearing their story and having them share their story with all of you. So, yeah, we do the show to prove that recovery is possible, but the show is dedicated to individuals who have lost their lives, who didn't know recovery was possible. And tonight's show is dedicated to this. Hold on, there he is. And this is Philip Brenner, and Gail's going to tell us who he is.
That's my brother who lost his battle with addiction in 2016. He was 39 years old and would have been 40, I guess, few months later. He struggled with addiction his whole life, just like his mother, our mother, and me. And unfortunately, he didn't make it. That's his daughter with him, Lorelei, my niece, whom I absolutely adore.
She's beautiful,
and she's doing really well. She doesn't seem to have that same affliction. So
Amen.
Hopefully, yeah, fingers crossed.
Amen. So tonight's show is dedicated to Phil Brenner. So when we start the show, I always like to go over the overdoses in Essex County. Since January 1st to date, we've had 352 overdoses. That is 145 more since my last show, which was last month. And of this number, 42 of those were fatal. Actually, 43 because I didn't do the reports up to today. So in Haverhill, we've had 80 overdoses with 9 fatalities. Lawrence has had 213 overdoses with 29 fatalities. Methuen has 51 overdoses with 4 fatalities. North Andover 8 with 0. And the numbers that I'm telling you folks, these are ones that are recorded. There are a lot that we don't know about because everyone carries Narcan now, thank you God. So lives are being saved without us even knowing what's going on in regards to with the numbers. But these are the ones that are recorded that we're aware of. And these numbers are the motivating factor for MVP ASAP to continue to fight for you and your loved ones. Last month, MVP ASAP hosted an amazing event. It was the Brandon Novak event. I don't know if you girls were able to make it. You could hear a pin drop. He had everyone's attention. Are you familiar with who he is?
No. Yeah.
He's an actor. He was on a movie called Jackass and Viva La Bamba. He was a famous skateboarder with Tony Hawk. So he was pretty amazing. And his story was just, you could hear a pin drop in the audience. It was great. So we had close to 200 guests there. We had many vendors. And we had a total of 425 years, 8 months, and 6 days of sobriety or recovery in one room. So that was just living proof that we, in fact, do recover. So for all those that did attend, thank you so much. Thank you to all the vendors. And we look forward to planning our next coming event. Just events that constantly go on. John Ross is saying hi, whoever John Ross is.
Hi, John.
Hey, John. So every Monday we have the Circle of Hope. It's a family support group hosted by Phil and Fran Leahy. We host it at the Methuen Police Department, 6:30 to 8. And if you need more information on that, you can always reach out to Phil Leahy. His number is 978-886-2949. Or you can find him on Facebook. Or just reach out to me and I can get you his number. And then also this coming Monday, CARES Initiative will be hosting Narcan training at the Methuen Police Department. That's from 6 to 6:30. And then following right after that will be Resource Night. And we have Liberty Health Services. It is a detox from Derry, New Hampshire that will be presenting at the Methuen Police Department. And the reason why we do this is we want the community members to people need to also educate themselves on what resources are available. And this way, a rep will be there so they can ask questions. You know, what does the detox look like? How long do they stay? What kind of insurance? So we like to do this just to continue to keep the community educated in regards to what resources are available out there. So that's Monday. And if you need information on that, you can reach out to me. And if you want to be a guest on this show, or if you want to dedicate the show to a loved one, you can always email me or reach out to me. And again, if you or someone is struggling, please reach out. Alone you can't. Together we can and we will. If you want to call into tonight's show and speak to these ladies, our number here is 978-659-0072. I can't guarantee that Judy will not break out in a song when she puts the headset on. I think she started to go into like being Lady Gaga for a little bit, and but it was fun. So again, if you want to call in and say hi to us, the number is 978-659-0072. One more thing, hi Phil, that I want to bring up is MVP ASAP is selling calendars. For the month of December, every day we'll be pulling a name out of the hat, and you will win whatever is on that day. To kick it off, we have December 1st, $100 to JSJ Aesthetics. So any women that like Botox or a facial, or even men, they have all kinds of stuff. That's our first one. So it's a $10 donation. We have great gifts. We have cash giveaways. Some of the other things is $50 gift certificate to the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom, Jake's Chop Shop for free haircuts, the Blue Ocean Music Hall. So there's a lot of stuff on these calendars. And if you're interested, all you got to do is go to our Venmo, which is MVP ASAP. Our last digits are 0913. Hi, Tom. And donate $10 and then put your phone number in, and we'll automatically put your name inside the basket. And what's fun about this is you can win more than once, not the same week. Like every week we'll pull out a name, and then at the end of that Saturday, we're going to throw all the names back in. So you can win all month. You can win a few times, and $10, all the proceeds will go to MVP ASAP. So thank you so much for this. And again, you can get it. You can contact me or Phil or any of our board members for the calendar, which is fun. And that's about it. So tonight, it's an honor and privilege for me to be sitting with these two ladies. Gail, I've known forever.
Long time.
20-something years now.
Yeah.
And this one I just met as she walked in, and she's already like going to be my BFF, and we're going to probably get in trouble with each other.
She's a troublemaker.
And all I kept on thinking when you were speaking was, thank God she's sober.
Amen.
Right? Because I can't imagine. I can't. So which one of you ladies would like to go first?
I'll let you.
Either or.
Do you want to?
It doesn't matter if you'd like me to. You know, I don't know. What do you want me to do? Just
Well, share your experience, strength, and hope,
Yeah,
and I'm
let's
going
do
to
that.
ask you questions as we go along.
Sure.
So, who wants to go first?
Sure. I guess I'll start if you'd like.
Yeah,
So
because I know you have a powerful story. So you had sobriety, you had many years,
Yeah.
and then you went back out,
Yeah.
and then you're back in,
Yeah.
and that's the miracle because not everyone makes it home.
Yeah.
So
I already
can-
feel emotional.
Yeah,
Try not to
which
cry
no,
through.
you can cry. This is a very
Yeah,
authentic
yeah.
show.
Cry if you need.
Yep, we are open,
Yeah.
and the whole goal is that we help someone that's
I
listening.
might not. Okay. I'm already feeling emotional, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, we do recover, right?
Amen.
We do recover, and sobriety is possible. And I do love how we say, like, together we can do it, because I tried it alone, and it didn't work for me. But yeah, so I grew up in Southie, one of 8 kids, alcoholic home, alcoholic neighborhood, right? I mean, really, it was crazy times, 70s, 80s, the cocaine crazed 80s. Went to an all-girl Catholic high school. I'd like to say that, we were all very parochial and stuff, but man, more drugs were in that place than I can remember,
From the priest.
Seriously.
Yeah, well, we had more nuns at the Catholic, it was all girls.
Yep.
I I don't know, I grew up with morals, values. I had a wonderful mother, and a lot of love, within my family, but also a lot of chaos, a lot of violence. My father was a very violent, guy. And yeah, and my neighborhood was violent. And I grew up during forced busing. There was violence in school, violence at home. And I just seemed to always have chaos. And maybe, I don't think I consciously, when I first picked up a drink, was going for some sort of relief. But I know later in life, I sort of thought that was going to help me to bring me relief. And it always brought me trouble and the police.
Yeah.
But
That's
I had blackouts from the beginning. I really didn't like beer wine. I started out with the vodka, which most of them call the cuckoo juice, fire water, whatever.
Yeah.
No good. And got my first or my only DUI when I was 18 in Florida on vacation. That was no fun. And just the losses started to happen right away for me. Losses of friends, loss of jobs, loss of self-respect. In Salty at the time, there was a bar room probably every 10 feet. And I just remember at night, staggering, getting thrown out of one bar, going to the next. And
When you say Southie, where's Southie?
you don't know Salty.
Like, I know that's the Irish
everybody
parade.
else to know.
Right. I know it's the Irish parade, right? But where's Southie?
So it's South Boston,
Okay.
right little neighborhood within, so in Boston.
Yeah.
So it's a section of Boston.
Okay.
Predominantly, or people will say Irish, but there's a lot of other ethnicities there, Italian.
But South Boston is not Southie, correct?
It is. It is.
It is. Okay,
Yes.
because my sister lives in South Boston.
Well, she lives in
She lives in
Southie.
Sophie.
She lives in
She
Southie.
doesn't
now.
say that though.
Well, because you got to be from Southie to say you're from Southie.
She lives right behind Centapio's, so I get off
That's
at
East Boston. That's
Oh, yeah,
a whole
that's
totally
right.
different place. Those are the Italians.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people do
Is
refer
Southie
to
Charleston?
next to it,
Dorchester?
next to it.
Okay.
Right? It's all right there. Yes, we're all little parts, little
Whitey
neighborhoods.
Bulger?
Yes,
Oh, okay. I know where you lived.
that's what. Right. So that was the only reason, right? Which I knew Whitey. That's a whole nother story. But
Yep.
She's got a lot of stories.
I do have a lot of stories. I'll try to keep it short. So
Try
yeah,
to keep it to one episode.
it was crazy times, right? Whitey was there. He controlled sort of. I have my diary from when I would walk home from high school and like see him,
All right.
like saw.
Did you know what he was doing?
A little bit, yeah.
Wow.
A little bit, yeah. And
Very interesting.
a whole
You're
nother-
not that old.
A whole nother story, but
Yeah, I know.
yeah. And but all that kind of stuff was sort of accepted, if you will, right? Just the violence and gangs and the mob and drug dealing and all that kind of stuff. But for some reason, I don't know, right? Gail and I would talk about our spirit, right? The light of my spirit. I started just really hating myself for the things that I was doing, the way I was behaving. When I put alcohol in my system, I have a profound personality change.
Yeah.
I am not who I really am. You know what I mean? My kids are always like, "Ma, you have a pretty high opinion of yourself." But I do, right? Because I really am a good soul.
Amen.
But guess what? When I drink, not so much.
Yeah.
I am the Jekyll and Hyde drinker that
Me
they talk
too.
about in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And for no reason, my family, I don't even know if they've tuned in, but like, I had a hard time explaining. I have 3 adult children when I relapsed later in life because my children had not seen their mother drink till just these recent years.
Wow.
Heartbreaking, but
I don't know if everybody knows that you were sober for a long period of time. I mean, I know it was in the bio, but
yeah. So, okay, thanks. But yeah, so I was sober from 21 to 48, 27 years.
Wow.
So I was a kid who grew up on welfare, Section 8, apartments, never like having enough money for like wanting to have the cool clothes or
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep.
To
we know that.
Mhm.
right? To who I'd like to say I majored in smoking pot and typing, to, owning my own home, right? Which, it's not about the material things. However, for me, it was a big deal because we we're on Section 8. No one like owned anything. So for me to like live in Wakefield in a beautiful suburb, you know, I would drive home. I lived in a cul-de-sac. I used to call dead ends, right? And my beautiful big home and just, right, all of it because of Alcoholics Anonymous and God, right? I called God my high power. It would not have been possible.
Nope.
Because I was responsible, dependable, accountable, right? And who I really am to my core, success and good things happened in my life. And then, you know, I took my eye off the ball and slow and steady, you know, I don't think a thought of a drink came right away, but spiritual loss of values, behaving in ways I'm not so proud of, perhaps, you know, and then I went to Italy. And thought it would be a good idea to have a glass of wine.
Oh,
I have to have a sip of this.
Italy.
Right? Yeah.
I like that.
But praise the Lord that I knew that I was like,
Yeah.
I knew that I was a crazy, when I would drink too much, I'd be crazy. So I controlled it, which we also say in Alcoholics Anonymous. And NA, right? If you're starting to control your drinking, you've already lost control.
Yep.
And so I only drank like a couple of glasses of wine here
Were
or
you
there.
married at this time with your who were you
I
in
was-
Italy with?
I was with a good girlfriend of mine.
Okay.
Of that, yeah.
Was she a sober individual?
She is not an alcoholic. She's just
Okay.
a good friend. We've been friends for like 35 years.
All right.
And her family let us stay at their beautiful beach house. So it was just the most amazing thing. And that was just another gift of sobriety that got me there, right?
Yeah.
Like walking out in the backyard and taking a fig off the tree and eating it. Right, I grew up in Salty. We don't even have trees. We didn't even have trees. We had nothing.
Tree grows inside.
We had nothing. No, but really, for me, like, yeah, it was just so amazing. And so, yeah, I picked up a drink and then thought I could come home and kind of a glass of wine. The glass kind of turned to like a bottle of wine. Then it maybe turned to two bottles, right? And again, trouble with my family, trouble with work,
Trouble with the law.
trouble with the law. Here's the thing. I was like, really, at this point, I'm drinking at home because I know I'm a nightmare and I don't want to get arrested.
Yeah.
Get arrested in my living room in front of my children.
Yeah. How old were they when that happened?
Oh, they were adults.
They were adults, yeah. So, well, my
Yeah.
son Richie was 21. My youngest wasn't there. He's 21 now, Jay. But Richie was like 21, and my daughter Judy, 26, 27. So, yeah. And then I'd like to tell you that was the last time I drank, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I think, again, I would come back to AA or NA, or I'd try to get into a program, you know what I mean? And I always would talk myself out of staying, right? Because let's face it, there aren't a lot of maniacs in the world, right? And I don't know sometimes if I can, I got to sort of find my tribe or somebody I can hang with. And I would talk myself out of it. Like a meeting, I'd go and somebody might say something that I didn't like. And I'd be like, screw these people. I don't want to be here, But finally, I, pray to God, March 7th of this year, I, after sending many text messages in a group text with 17 family members of not so nice stuff, I called a rehab and, put myself in a program. And it was the first time also that I went to a 30-day program. Because when I first got sober, when I was 21, I had not known the daily drink. I had not known that real obsession or compulsion that happened to me. We always say there are yets to come. And those things happened for me afterwards, and so my journey, I'm back in AA, and I know that I cannot do it alone for sure. That I've learned. And I met Gail while I was at the rehab in Wilmington. And
We at the Mayflower?
Yeah, Mayflower. Nice. Yeah.
Did you go in for a commitment?
I did. I go every month, and a lot of times I go alone.
Yeah.
Because I get into the book.
Yeah.
So she heard me
Nice.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah. An amazing, story of just hope, right? And hope. That's why whenever I go somewhere, I do a commitment I just want to share the message of hope that we do recover, because it's possible. I was a kid, who had zero, nothing. And thank you, God, I didn't blow all my 401k when I was drinking. And like I still like, so I like, she was drunk, but not too dumb in some cases, right?
Yeah.
Because really, right, people lose everything, and I mean, I lost enough of self.
Yes.
And so I'm still making a lot of amends. I think my family members, I'm still have some amends to make there. They're upset, and rightfully so. I said a lot of mean things under the influence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm back. Things, it's amazing that when I take booze out of the equation, how my relationships improve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can have a semblance of peace in my life from just removing that.
And are you going to meetings?
All the time.
Awesome.
All the time. And
Awesome.
I'm doing what it was suggested when I first came to AA, right? Yeah. Get a sponsor. So I have a sponsor, right? Go to meetings. I get a job.
Yeah.
Get a group.
Yeah.
So shout out to Midweek Salty.
Yeah.
But I love them. I want to tell you something in all seriousness. Every Wednesday when I go there, I could cry. It's probably more than a couple of hundred people.
That's awesome.
And you can hear.
Is it an NH meeting?
It's an AA. But I go to both. But
I feel like I've been to a huge meeting over there, and I was just so taken back.
Yeah.
Because y'all talk different over there.
Yeah.
They have a weird accent.
Y'all.
I know y'all don't say y'all. Hi, my beautiful cousin Sarah, who's saying we have great guests. But
thank you.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, a lot of humility, a lot of humbleness. I find, I don't know, and in my tribe, I grew up there, and there's a lot of, I think, love, compassion, and that common suffering that we have, and that we can share, and we can share in the hope and stuff. So I got a job in another group. I make coffee, best coffee in it
ever.
The pot is clean.
Ever.
She's writing.
I'm not much, but I'm all I think about.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
But so I'm doing the things because I know it's my responsibility for my recovery, and I cannot do it alone.
Right.
I tried. I can isolate easily, and so I don't want to be alone. And I love girlfriends.
Yeah.
And then meeting Gail, and one of the things that I read the big book several times throughout my 27 years, but not really like I am doing it. I'm doing it with Gail, and I'm currently in the process, and it's revealing a lot of things. So
amen.
So yeah, God is good. God is so good.
That's awesome.
I'm back and happy to be back, and I know that my path is to get back on track and help others. You know.
Amen. Well, you're definitely a light. You're definitely a bright light.
She's a bright light.
Yeah, and then your energy. I absolutely already love you.
I love you too.
Yeah, and I love the hat. Make America Kind Again. Right? Yes, absolutely. Phil Brad is saying something.
Hello, hello.
Oh, okay. That's how you say hello.
It's the Australian hello.
Oh, all right, Phil.
That's how I would say it anyway.
Okay, perfect. Great. Well, I appreciate everything that you shared. This right here is an amazing sponsor to have. And from my own experience, the process changed my life. I was 11 years sober and suicidal, and I could have drank, and I was led through the process, and it changed my life. It's what recovery is all about, is that process. And I feel as though like the enemy was just trying to keep me away from that process because he knew who I was going to become. So I so look forward to seeing who you grow up to be. And I'm sure you're a shaker and a maker and a waker, and you're going to wake up a lot of people. And I really hope that I witness your recovery journey. And I thank you for being on the show with us this evening.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for letting me
You're an amazing lady. Thanks. Absolutely. So now we're, if you want to call in and talk to these girls, the number is 978-659-0072. If not, I'm going to introduce Gail. So Gail, I have known over 20 years. I knew of your recovery. I was at your wedding to, what's his face? Right? Yeah. He goes, I'm not going to listen. I go, you don't have to. So
we're okay with that.
Yes. So I've always known your recovery. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to go to law school. And I'm like, look at this girl go. And then you're like, oh, by the way, I'm writing a book. And when your memoir was published, I read it in 48 hours. And I realized I didn't even know who you were.
Mm.
I only knew your recovery. And when I read your
Now I'm
story,
getting emotional.
when I read your story, I appreciated you
Thanks.
even more at a whole nother level. To endure what you have endured and to be who you have become is an absolute miracle to this whole world and to the women that you meet on your path that you're going to help. Like that book, I'm like, here, you need to read it. You can't afford it here. I'll buy it for you. Like, you have to read this because
I
it
appreciate
is everything to do with, like, you're not a freaking statistic. You're not dead. You didn't repeat history with the kids, and you broke a whole generation. So I'm not going to spoil it with sharing who you are, but please share with the audience your story.
Well, while Judy was talking about, I was trying to figure out where I was going to start, but you gave me a good starting point because you said that you were 11 years sober and you wanted to kill yourself. And I was 7.5 years sober and I wanted to kill myself. And my perspective is a little bit different in the way that I'm not religious. So the God of my understanding is more of spiritual in nature. I pray every day. I get on the floor. I get on the floor and I pray in the morning. I get on the floor and I pray at night. And I've come to the conclusion or the understanding that the God of my understanding doesn't need to be described or explained or, conceptualized for somebody else because I understand it the way that I do. And I preface with that because I don't believe that there were any evil forces at work. I believe that it was my own doing, not that I created my addiction, but that I used things because I wanted to feel better. And, I would use anything, whether it was a feeling, emotion, or a substance or a person, because I wanted to feel better. Like, that's all I wanted. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I didn't want to hurt myself. I didn't want to, I wasn't trying to run away. I really just wanted to feel better. And, what's unfortunate is that we can't do things. We can't use things and not suffer the consequences of being blocked off, of being separated from other people. Because whenever I use something or somebody, that's what happens. So inadvertently, that's what happened, inadvertently. But, as you know, and you were just talking about the book. So I went through my life, when things would happen, like, to me, whatever they were, because that was initially the case, when I was young, when I was a child. My mother was a heroin addict. My father left, all those things. And I responded to them however I did. Like, at first it was stealing. I was just talking about that last night, and I will tell you a little story about that. But I would steal anything. I mean, I was arrested like 5 times before I was 16 because I just could not stop myself. I would go in a store and now I know, like, that was my way of control. That was the thing that I used to feel better. Because that was the one thing I could get a hold of at that time. Because I was like, 6, 7 years old when I started to steal. And then, time went by and other things happened. And then, I had resentment and fear and shame and my ego and, like, all of those things. And then relationships and cigarettes and caffeine and, whatever I could get my hands on. And that was it. I was just trying to feel better. I just wanted to feel like everybody else. And as that was going along, so I this analogy, it's like, this is light bulb inside of me. And that's the God of my understanding, like this spirit that is in me and around me all the time. And it connects me to those around me. That, when those things started to happen, and I think they started to happen when I was really, really young, like before I even knew what was going on, before I even knew that I was doing those things, but I would do something or feel a certain way. And it was like throwing something over that light, like a towel over that light. And then, so I would get angry and have that anger, throwing something over that light. And then I'd be afraid of something, throwing something over that light. And then resentful and shameful and then, cigarettes and men and whatever, like all those things. And every time throwing something over that light. So then by the time, I get to be in my 20s, and I mean, when I was really cognizant of what was happening, because I came to AA when I was really, really young, way before that, but not recovery wise. It was like I was sitting in a dark room, like I was there and I knew that I knew that I had, like Judy was saying, she was a good person. Like I had these values, like I didn't like to steal. like I needed to steal, but I didn't like it. I didn't like that feeling of taking something from somebody that didn't belong to me. But at the same time, I craved it, so it was like the drug, same thing.
Yeah.
So then, I'm sitting in this dark room and I think that it's something happening to me when really, it's the power is within me the whole time. It sounds kind of corny to say it that way, but it's true, because this process of recovery, and Judy's heard me talk about it many times, is about removing those things that I've thrown over that light.
I love that analogy, though. It's so right. It's too easy. It was when she explained that to me that way, I was like, yeah, the things that we do to like are dimming our spirit, So
Well, because-
I love that analogy.
Because my spirit, my spirit isn't bad. My spirit isn't sick. There's nothing wrong with me. It's truly just that I'm blocked off. Well, and I don't even like to say I am blocked off. It's just that I feel that way.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really blocked off. I never was. It was all just that feeling of being disconnected. And you hear it all the time, right? It's a disease of loneliness. It's, wants to get me alone. It's like that. All those things, it's all the same thing, right? It's that being disconnected. So this process, and the book. So I've gone through this process, and you've read the book, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's a long book, but but I wrote this book, and I had gone through the process. I went through it a few times. That was not really until it was thorough. I had to go through it thoroughly. I had to really know what things I was doing and ways that I was behaving that were blocking me off from my own spirit, right? I had to know. I had to do this honest appraisal and write this inventory and all that. So I did that. And I started to change. I started to do things differently and behave in different ways. And then, this last thing, this shame, can I swear on this? Freaking shame. Like it was just that.
I was going to ask that.
It feels good for you to not.
Did I swear?
Yes.
She can't help herself.
Oh, my God, I'm so sorry.
So the shame was the last thing. So, I had this book, and I had shown it to some people. Some people had read it, and other people, but people who knew me. Not people who didn't know me or knew me in my professional capacity as a lawyer, they didn't know these things about me.
Yeah.
So before it was published, I was like, do I really want to do this? Like, is that, and of course I couldn't not do it because it was that final piece for me, and I say this, like, I don't know if it's true for everybody, like to get over that shame is to be transparent.
Yep.
But it was for me. So that's what I did. And, now, So the story about stealing, I was telling the story last night. Yesterday, I went into Walmart and I got a few things, and I grabbed this can of cleaner, and I rang everything up and myself with the scanner.
Yeah.
And then I was leaving, and the girl saw me walking out. I had my receipt. She's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." I was like, "Okay, I must look honest." So I left. I get in my car. I get to my car. I lift the trunk and I start putting stuff away. Well, the can of cleaner is in there, and I completely didn't see it when I was ringing everything in, so I didn't pay for it. So I was like, no, but it wasn't my fault. It wasn't on purpose. So then I thought, you know what? This is the thing, right? Because this idea of this is a constant thing, like every day, every not even every day, like every 15 minutes, I have to check myself. Like, am I being honest? Am I behaving in a way that's consistent with my spiritual values, like the person that I truly am? So I was like, all right, do I really want to walk all the way back in there? I got to go to the bathroom. I really want to get home. Like I've gone through this whole thing, and I was, of course I'm going to go back in there. Like I can't not pay for this thing. So I went back in and I paid for it. And I walked by the girl with the thing in my hand. She didn't even, I was like, nobody cared. Like it wasn't a thing for anybody else. But for me, that peace inside of me, like I know what is the best, because it's that slippery slope, right?
Yes,
and you talked about it too, like that one thing, like where I feel not so good about it, like just one little thing that I'm not really, like I said, consistent with my own spiritual values, whatever it is, because I don't think we all have the same spiritual values. Some people might be okay with that, and,
Right.
and be able to sleep. I mean, that's up to them. That's not my place to judge. But
Right.
so yeah, day at a time, and this whole process. And I love going through the book with. I mean, I love showing other people how to do this, because
Nice.
I
for
think I'm
me-
her favorite so far.
well, of course, in case,
Of course you
in case
are.
somebody else is listening. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. So I mean, I think, and knowing that, so now, the position that I'm in, that I'm in a position of power in some ways. I have
Yeah.
this platform that it's given me credibility.
Yeah.
People, because if I had
Yeah.
told this story prior,
Yeah.
it would have been received completely differently.
Yes.
Right.
I
I mean,
agree.
and
I
and
agree.
now I have these two different lives. Like I can see that, like, I know that happened. I was there.
Yeah.
But now in this world, like this life today, it seems it's almost unthinkable.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it's a very, very strange.
So as a lawyer and having this book and everything, are you sharing this with people that you come across in your
Everybody.
services? Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, not everybody, I would say. There was a girl, a client a few
Yeah.
days ago or
Yeah.
a week ago that I met with, and she was talking about, maybe wanting to go back to school, and I gave her a copy of the book, and I was like, this is, I want you to read this, because I want you to know, like,
Yeah.
when you see people, we compare our insides to other people's outsides, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know where people have been or what they've gone through or experienced.
Right.
You have no idea. And that's, a pretty prime example of that. And of, if we take those steps and make that effort to remove those things that block us off, and we are connected, then things just, and
Yes.
like, things just happen like the way
Yes,
they're
they
supposed
do.
to. They just happen.
Yeah.
And we're in the world, like, not of it, like, not.
If someone wanted to get your memoir, where could they find it?
Anywhere books are sold.
And what's the name of it?
The Fruit You'll Never See.
Do you have a
A
copy?
memoir about overcoming shame.
Hold on. We got the
Oh, my
ear.
earrings.
I
Yeah,
know.
I don't know if you can see
The
them.
little books. The Fruit You'll Never See.
Hi, Diana.
And so tell us a little bit about the title, The Fruit You'll Never See. What's that all about?
So my mother wrote a poem before she died. So my mother had AIDS, and obviously, again, this is a very long story.
Yeah.
And she wrote a poem. Want me to quote the poem?
Yes.
I'll recite it. Wandering through the countryside, my daily nature walk, I chanced to meet a woman and stopped with her to talk. Tired eyes and frail frame, the spark of life ne'er past. She's planting there a cherry tree, the task no doubt her last. Curious, I asked her, why do you bother to plant this tree? Soon you'll draw your final breath, the fruit you'll never see. It's true, she said, I'll see no fruit, for I am deathly ill. I'm planting here this cherry tree for Chrissy, Gail, and Phil. And initially, the name of the book was, or the title of the book was The Cherry Tree.
Yeah.
And then one day, like I said, unblocked, I'm driving down 213. So it
Yeah.
happened. I remember exactly where I was. And the thought occurred to me that it should be The Fruit You'll Never See, because she didn't see the fruit, but
Mhm.
the fruit is here. Like,
Yes.
this is, the fruit is, and it's overwhelming, it's
Yeah.
like the fruit, and it continues,
Yeah.
right, with the people that I'm able to work with, and
Yeah.
not just in my recovery, but in the world,
Right.
like in sharing the story, and
Yeah.
because it's her story too.
Right.
I mean-
Absolutely. And was it received by her family and like the people that are noted in it, your aunt and all of that? Like, what was that all about?
Well,
Like, how did they receive this?
Yeah.
I don't, one of my uncles was at my first reading.
Yep.
He bought 2 books, one for him and one for his wife, I believe. He bought 2 anyway. I haven't heard from him, but I didn't hear from him for years before that.
Yep.
I didn't, since I think my brother's service. So 2016 to this year, I didn't hear from him. He just
Okay.
showed up at that reading. And then another uncle is on Facebook. I don't know. He's never responded to. He's checked. He likes a couple of things here and there, but I don't know. And then a couple of them have schizophrenia. So that Julie's one of them.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had any communication with her for a while.
Right.
So nobody's said anything negative. But
What about your kids? That's like has Sabrina.
Serena,
Has she read it?
she won't read it. One
Good.
of her friends was reading some of it, and she was
Yeah.
like, "I can't hear that." So,
Yeah.
my son started to read it.
Yeah.
His wife, so my daughter-in-law. I don't know if she finished it. And then my oldest actually edited the first draft when I was really
Oh,
new
wow.
to writing before I actually went to school for it.
Right.
Because she's got a master's in creative nonfiction.
Oh,
She's a writer
sweet.
too.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
that, I mean, yeah, I think it's hard to imagine me in that, my life like that. I guess, I mean, I know my mother's story because she told me a lot of things.
Right.
So I know that, but we had a different kind of relationship also. I mean, my kids have grown up different than I did, obviously. You
Yes.
said that, but, right. So
Absolutely.
but yeah, I
Wow.
think I know that they're proud of me. I
Yep.
know that they respect that in me.
Yep.
That survival and what I do now.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm just their mother.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So do you go to AA meetings, obviously,
I
still?
do. I go often, actually. I go to usually about 3 or 4 a week.
Awesome. And then you're also taking commitments into a treatment center once a month.
Mayflower, Serenity, here and there. I was going to Baldpate regularly. But
Yeah.
I haven't been there for a while.
That's awesome. And giving back. Talking a little bit about what the program says about giving back.
Well, we have to give it away in order to keep it.
That's right.
Right. And that's, I mean, but not only that, because it's to the point where it's not just that I have to give it away. It's that I love to give it away.
Nice.
I want everybody to feel this freedom
Right.
and this peace and this, just this connection to the world and to be able to, because I thought growing up, I thought I wasn't good at anything. I thought I didn't have anything to offer the world. I was alone. I thought I was a piece of garbage,
Right.
and now, like, I wrote a book that's doing very well.
Yes, it is.
And there's a reason for that,
Mhm.
because people identify with that shame.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm here.
And I think a lot of people are healing from reading your book, if not at least taking their first steps into therapy to start healing. Like, have you gone to any of the women's houses where these women have been sex trafficked or anything, like any of the Jasmine Grace? Have you spoken any
Not
like
yet.
that?
I did get somebody reached out from WIT.
Okay.
So I will be going in to speak to them.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, I haven't gotten any invitations yet. I have been doing a lot of speaking, but not.
And then when you
specific to-
because I went to your book read in Lawrence.
Yep.
Are you still doing that? Because you were touring for a while, like to get it out there. Are
I
you
am
still doing that?
Diana Teal. I did a reading at the
The Ray
of Light
Cafe. Yeah.
cafe. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I spoke at a woman's luncheon, businesswoman's luncheon in Gloucester a couple of weeks ago. That was my
Awesome.
last. So, and now I'm starting to book again for,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
Cause I want people to know that no matter how bad it seems, because it seems pretty bad.
Right.
My history seems pretty bad, and I would not share any of that at a meeting for, that it's not, why would I?
Right.
But now,
So you're a prime example of when we talk about peeling away layers of our onion. Because
absolutely.
how many years sober are you?
21.
And how many years were you when you started to write the book? Well, your book's all about different journals that you had kept.
I started writing it when I was 24,
Okay.
but I put it down for years.
Okay.
So like really around 2015,
Yeah.
I started to get, or 2014, around there, I started to get really serious about it.
Nice. And that's when you went to school to learn about writing. Because I remember you were learning how to do this writing program.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I got my master's in fine arts from Emerson
Yes.
in 21. That
Yep.
just happened recently, but yeah.
Nice.
And
when
that
I
was
read- Sorry, I was going to just say, when I read Gail's book too, you said you read it in 48 hours. I read it because
Yeah.
it was just, of course, and knowing Gail and what an amazing, awesome woman she is.
Aw.
So as I would finish each different chapter or something, I would just I love little Gail.
She
I
texted
wanna
me.
hug
She was
her.
texting me all the
I
time.
love you. I'm
Yeah.
so happy that I know this is a happy ending. You
Right.
know? And
I know.
but each chapter is something I would read. I'd say, I love you, because I also say it to myself and want other people to say it to themselves. And
Yeah.
we forgive ourselves for.
She told me tonight when she picked me up, I need to get a couple of books for a couple of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Spread the message
continue
of
to
joy
talk
and hope.
about it. It's just, just briefly, it's about abuse. It's about
Neglect,
neglect,
poverty,
shame, addiction. And then here you are today, like screaming recovery in every avenue.
free.
Free.
A mom, a grandmom, a lawyer, an author,
A friend.
a sponsor. Like you're just, so much of you is just amazing, and that was your final piece to say,
yeah,
I'm here.
absolutely.
I have arrived, and it's what a gift to
and
witness.
we can all do that.
I
That's
know.
the key. That's the thing, right? We all have that.
Yes, we do.
Gail does ask when she starts taking the, through the big book.
Yeah.
Judy, if I do this with you, like the promise is sort of you'll do it with somebody else.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Right. So that's the agreement, and I say I will. I
Yep.
promise. I'll pass it along.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's what my sponsor said to me. She's like, for me to take you through this process, I need you to tell me that you will commit to taking other women through it.
Yeah.
And it's the coolest thing ever is to take someone through the process.
It's fun.
And to put their hand into the hand of their higher power and allow them to have an amazing life, like all of us.
Yeah.
So we have listeners tonight, and
Wendy. Jean.
if someone is listening that's new, because this is also on YouTube, so we can't see who's on YouTube at the same time. Someone's struggling tonight. What would you say to them? What would you say to them about the struggle? They can't put down the drink. What advice would you give someone?
I would say don't give up, right?
Yep.
I mean, sometimes, things change all the time. The way you feel right now will change. May not even get better right away, right? Could get worse, but it's going to change.
Yep.
And that feelings, emotions, they pass. But to reach out, because there are people, Gail, all of us, right? Us women right here,
Yep.
that if somebody reached out their hand, we would say, sure. You know what I mean? I'll take you to a meeting. I'll listen to you.
Right.
And that there is hope. And that, again, I just love the phrase that we do recover,
Yeah.
because we do. There's
Yeah,
so many
absolutely.
people really, right? You're in the court system, or I'm, at an energy company, right? People wouldn't know that we're out there, productive members of society helping,
Right. Absolutely. Which is
So-
what it's all about, is becoming useful members of society. So when we were all getting sober, like in the 80s and 90s, like back then it was smoking in the basements, right? I remember being at St. Lucy's and there's just so much smoke, like I didn't even have to light a cigarette.
I loved
because
it.
was
Loved
just
it.
Dang.
Because I was a smoker.
Yeah.
I
me
was
too.
I was a smoker back then
Me
too.
too. And then like my hat goes off to anyone who got sober during COVID-19 because of this disease of isolation, and they're getting sober on a TV screen and doing that. So when I meet individuals on their journey that are like, I got sober 2019, 2020, and I'm like, then you're a miracle. You're even another miracle at a whole nother level in my eyes for that whole fact, because half of the fun of getting sober and going to AA was the connection, was who has what on, who's doing who, what are we doing? Like just even the insanity, because we were all young when we all got sober, right? And I just think of it, and I think of all the old timers in Methuen that really
shaking their heads.
Yeah, but no, they saved my ass. Like they kept people away from me, like that shouldn't have been around me, to say, girl, just stick with us. And that was like Luther. That was John Carroll.
I miss Luther.
Right?
Yeah.
John Carroll. That was good Lord. Like this is COVID head. I
got it too. Well, I'm
but,
English.
yeah.
People still do that now,
Yep.
Keep a lookout for newcomers, because we know, again, sometimes, people's motives may not, be in the right place, because everybody's at different places in their recovery or their sickness or their healing journey, right?
Absolutely.
So, there are folks that are looking out.
So I would say that AA might not be for everybody,
Yep.
but it's a really good place to start
Yes.
because you can find people who are like-minded there.
Yes.
Agreed.
And I didn't go to AA right away.
Mm.
I did the shopping addiction. I did everything not to go to AA. I became an exercise freak. So codependent with Mark.
Well, whatever would work to make you feel better. Or,
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it was like getting uncomfortable. And that's when Marsha Whitcomb from the psychological
Marsha.
center,
Yeah.
she was like, you got to go to a meeting. And that's where my journey began. And that's where my healing began because it was the first time I heard people share their emotions and their feelings, and that they did it without drinking, you know?
Yeah.
Diana says noontime ray of light, Monday through Friday.
So is Diana, I'm going to assume that you have a meeting there. And if you want to put the address in, that would be helpful as well. I know it's Merrimack Street. I just don't know what number. Merrimack Street in Haverhill. And then we have Kathy, you women are amazing. Wendy. Oh, Wendy. We were all on a board together.
Yeah.
Wendy. Oh my gosh. We all know
I'm still
Jean
on the
Jordan.
board. I'm not the president anymore. I stepped down. I
Really?
abandoned. Oh yeah. It was
Who's
too much.
on it now?
Scott. Now I can't think of his last name.
Where is he from?
I don't know.
I
He was
love
in
him.
one of the houses though. He was in Leroy's. So
Okay.
that's how he came to be part of it. But
Right. So Scott Hughes, Wendy, you still on it?
no, I haven't seen Wendy for a long time.
Oh,
But it's
92
nice to see you
Merrimack
now.
Street. Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a trip.
And the winner of the drawing for the book is Julie Silva.
All right, Julie Silva.
Come a
Yeah.
long way.
So let me put
That's
in
you.
Who is it?
winner.
It's your sister.
Oh,
Hold on.
It's Janice.
oh, my twin.
That's
let's
her
see.
twin, Janice.
Good Lord, there's two of you?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. She is on TikTok.
I can't put the chat in.
Squash Satan, kick him in the crotch. She was doing that on TikTok.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
that's great.
Yeah,
Janice, I will be
Janice is
praying
really
for
funny.
you.
Really
Absolutely.
funny.
Were you
Oh, you
trying
moved
to put
to
it
me-
in?
I was trying to put it in, but I can't figure out the chat.
Join the chat.
And then what does it read?
Connect.
You're so
Oh,
bossy.
I guess not. I'll show her.
Yeah, no,
I was
we
being-
can't do
I was
it.
being helpful.
I don't know, Luke.
I
Can you
know.
type in the name of the winner on your side of who won the book?
Yeah, tell me again one.
What's her name?
Julie Silva.
Julie Silva won the book. And how is she going to get this book?
I'm gonna mail it.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I tried so hard to do. I was gonna obviously pick it on here
Yeah.
while we were on, and I
Yeah.
could not. I wrote the book, and then I don't know how much of the story I told when you were at the reading, but
Yeah.
I decided to publish it independently
Yeah.
because I looked a little bit, and then that whole rejection thing was more than I could
Yeah.
bear. And Janice, thank you, Janice. So I had to do all the other stuff. You know, I had to market, I had to
Yeah.
learn, I had to learn all these different things.
Yeah.
So that was one of them, you know, putting together an email list. And that's why I did it that way, because I'm still trying to build a platform and an audience, an
Nice.
audience, because I plan to write another book. So trying to do that was a lot of effort, in other
Okay.
words.
And you're going to write another book?
I am.
And what's this
I'm
going to be
writing. I
about?
have several books in me. I don't think I'll ever stop writing. The next
That's
one
so
is a
awesome.
continuation of the last. It's more like how I did it.
Yeah.
You know, that process of recovery, because you know, like you, it took me a long time.
Yeah.
When I stood up at the end of this book, you know, in the courtroom,
Yeah.
that freedom from the shame, that still didn't change my behaviors. You know, I still
Did
behaved
anyone
in
look at
ways-
you differently in the courtroom, like your peers?
There are a couple people that I know are judging
I was
me.
wondering about the
Yeah,
same thing as
that's
well. Yeah.
right.
Or
Yeah.
at least I shouldn't say I know. It's my perception.
Okay.
It's probably a case where they have their own shame and they're horrified at the fact that I was so public about mine.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But just a couple. Most people, a friend of mine who's now a judge called me, and she was, you know, oh my God, this is fantastic. And I have so
Awesome.
much, like you know, she said, I have so much more respect for you now than
Yeah.
I did. And so a lot of people have had that response. But
Awesome.
yeah, I do feel some judgment here and there. But I
There
mean,
is such a
no
freedom,
more-
though, right? I say this to my kids. That I had a contractor,
Yep.
whatever, screwed me out of some money, but I'll accept my part, and I shouldn't have paid him all the money up front, but I trusted him.
Never.
But I trusted him.
Yeah.
But long story short, I was telling my kids, so one morning I'm going to get a cup of coffee in Reading, and I know he loves Starbucks, and I like see his truck, so I know he sees me that he's gonna hide until I leave. And so I go in and get my coffee, and I drive around because I'm kind of nuts, looking for his truck, and there he is hiding behind two cars, a grown man.
Yeah.
But I was half drinking off and on at the time, but I took a picture of him and I sent it to my kids. I just said, "Look at it. He has to hide.
Yeah.
He's like
Shame.
shame.
Yeah.
He has to
Yep.
duck."
Yeah.
I my shame, like you, Gail. I walk a free person.
Amen.
All my mistakes, it's okay.
Amen.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry for them. I make my amends, and there is such a beauty and
Yeah.
a freedom of
Absolutely.
letting that stuff go.
That's awesome. It's
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
stuff. Also wanted to ask, do you girls know of any upcoming events that we need to be talking about on the show? I know there was Alcathons are coming
yeah.
on. So where's yours?
So in South Boston, right in the D Street projects.
Nice.
So funny, super nice guy in my group who runs at Wally. He said when he was like his sponsor, who's passed, but he just grew up in the projects, tough living, like
Right.
and his sponsor, this guy Marty, said, "Wally, God knows where the D Street projects are." So it's in the projects, and it's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It's an Alcathon.
Yeah.
So lots of groups, lots of coffee, lots of goodies. So I know we're going to have through the night meetings.
Awesome.
So that's in South Boston. It's St. Peter's.
Awesome.
And this one in Derry.
At the Friendship Center.
Right.
Yeah.
And same thing, they starting on Wednesday.
Yes.
Awesome.
I believe it's the 24 hours. I'm not
Okay.
positive.
I know for some
but I
reason I'm
think so.
thinking there's a break in the middle of the
Yeah.
night, but
They
Yeah.
usually do like a little,
Yeah.
but not that they don't close down or anything.
I know.
So
I'm
November's
not sure.
Gratitude Month.
Yeah.
I was raised in AA with writing and keeping a gratitude list for the whole month of November, going A through Z, and writing it. And I was also given the homework of that I had to mail 3 letters to 3 individuals that I was grateful for.
That's so nice.
And that was really a fun part of my journey. But also right now, we're coming into the trifecta, which is the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
Yeah.
So what would your advice be to someone who is coming in or new, and we're talking about a trifecta? What would you say about the trifecta?
I'd say to, like Judy was saying earlier, just to stay close,
Yeah.
get connected. And, you were talking about Zoom earlier.
Yep.
There's WIM, which
Yep.
is the Women's International Meeting.
Yep.
I don't have the idea off the top of my head, but it's 24 hours and it's international.
Yeah.
So no matter what time of the day, you can log in.
Yep.
And it's just a good tool to have. I don't think it's the best approach to only do
Correct.
Zoom, but I think it's a great thing to have in the interim, because there are people who stay on all the time.
Yeah.
They go to sleep, they wake up and it's still on, They just
I
keep
even-
their camera off or
I suggest try to help others, right? Do something right. I love the phrase, trust God, clean house, help others.
Yeah.
Take the focus off yourself. See if it's, you can go to a soup kitchen, or help wrap
so
gifts, but
staying busy.
staying busy
Yeah.
and just sometimes staying out of your own head and helping others can,
Yeah.
keep your mind off.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. All right, let's see if we have anything here. Julie Silva's the winner. Trina Benson wrote that. Are you Trina?
No, he wrote it
The whole
too.
time.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I see you there. All right. So thank you both for coming, for sharing your experience, strength, and hope.
Thanks for having
I'm
us.
so glad that your girls were able to make it. Thank you for taking the ride down here from Southie. And I look forward to getting to know you. And thank you to everyone that tuned in tonight. And seriously, if you have the opportunity to buy her book, it is called The Fruit
You'll never
Never
see.
You'll Never See. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on
Barnes and Noble, anywhere books are sold.
anywhere books are sold. And it's an amazing book of healing.
And if you do have a group, like Cole was talking about, of abused women or, trafficked, whatever, and you're looking for a speaker, then I'd be more than willing to do that.
She's an amazing speaker. Absolutely.
I can end with the song.
Yes. End with your song. Put your headset on and let's do.
No, but
This is how we started the
This is
show.
a different song.
We're not doing shallow.
Star of the day, who will it be? Your vote may hold the key. It's up to you. Tell us who will be
Right. So
star
your
of the
sister just
day.
logged out and she's like, I don't know her, but that is hysterical. So anyways, just a reminder that Monday night we have the Circle of Hope at the Methuen Police Department. This Monday we have Narcan training 6 to 6:30. Yeah, don't give up your calling. And then we have a guest speaker coming in as well to talk about the Liberty Detox. So thank you all for tuning in. And I can't believe someone knew it.
Stop. Listen, sober is better. Sober is better. Sober is
So
better.
thank you all for being there, Lou. Thank you so much for being
you.
with us tonight.
Thanks.
And everyone have a good night. I can't forget one more thing because Phil will kill me. A week from tonight, we will be on Methuen TV. Phil is bringing back the original families that lost their children. It was our first TV show, and it's called 9 Years Later, Where Are They Now? And I don't know. He's got a few of the families that have said yes. So that'll be on Methuen TV. We'll also have it posted to our Facebook page, our website, so that people can see it. We're also looking for audience participation. There are 35 chairs in the audience. So if you've lost a child or a loved one and you want to sit in the audience and be able to ask these families questions about like how did you heal and what steps, it's going to be a pretty powerful evening. So that is next Thursday. And other than that, Lou and I have to pick a date. I think December 7th is my next time here. So I'm going to say in advance, happy Thanksgiving. Watch our Facebook page. I will put out where the alcothons are, different things to stay connected. And as always, again, alone you can't, together we can, and we will. So good night, everyone. God bless. And thank you, ladies, for being with me.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.